Welcome back to Episode 4 of Chatter. We're here with Alex Barzv. He's in his 10th year as a Canadian soccer referee and currently serves as a provincial referee and regional referee instructor with Alberta Soccer. He officiates across League One, Alberta, U Sport, ACAC, there's going to be a lot of initials here, APDL, the AMSL, the CUSA, the CWSA, and CMSA, earning opportunities at Tier 1 provincials, McMahon Stadium, and League One matches, an assignment reserved for a select group of officials. As a leader within the Calgary and District Soccer Referees Association, Alex runs the Referee Enhanced Development Program, mentoring youth and new referees as they build their confidence and craft. He also proudly represented Canada officiating in Europe. Off the field, he works as a supply chain management business analyst and spends his downtime scrambling in the Rockies.
Yes.
Welcome, Alex.
Thank you, Tamara.
Hey.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, we're excited.
We appreciate it. We're excited. I've come to the point now, T, where I think I actually enjoy talking to officials who aren't basketball officials.
For sure.
Like
Learn so much.
You learn so much, and it's just so different. So, we appreciate the other thing. Just it's amazing how many people like yourself who are out there that are working so hard to help make officials better, and it's very thankless, and yet there are these amazing knowledge bases that we talked about. We had a great conversation with Jake Steinbrenner a couple weeks ago, and I think it's really important actually that we tell these stories.
Yeah, for sure.
Because otherwise, how does this knowledge get passed on? Even just in the 15 minutes that we were chatting before, we could turn the podcast on here. It blew me away. I was like, you need to write a manual. I mean, maybe you have. I'm sure you have.
In the works. Yeah.
I think podcasting is such a great way, and telling these stories is such a great way for globally officials to build this community of how do we develop each other. And I'm starting to see, I think maybe an opportunity in officiating is to stop looking at it in silos.
Right.
And start looking at it as
cross
officials.
Yeah.
No, so you were introduced to us by a member of our team that works with us, Derek, and he's on our development team, and he's a fantastic developer, and by all accounts, he's also a fantastic official.
Yeah.
And a young upcoming official. And one of the things that he mentioned, he said, the reason why he said we should talk to you is he said, referees that go through your program, the Referee Enhanced Development Program, he said they come out, they've gone through, they come out noticeably more confident, his words. You may have a different... Yeah. And so I wanted to dive into that. What are you trying to accomplish with that program? How do you try to accomplish it? And I guess we can just leave it there for now.
Yeah, so the RED program, it was started a couple years ago by two different referees. One is amazing assessor and instructor. The other one was an amazing referee and now he's an instructor. He just pretty much left refereeing for the family and business. Yes, so we're so upset with that. he was almost knocking on a professional door.
Okay.
He's really good. So the idea is to help the young referees develop the basic skills at the beginning of their career. Well, they can be thrown into the water and sink or swim, and then we started seeing a lot of them sink. And then COVID hit, and then we lost 2/3 of the referees. And then how do we get the new referees up to speed faster than they find it out themselves? So that was pretty much the basics of the program. We started creating content with the basic concepts. It's pretty much reiterating the entry-level courses, but in a more concentrated way. So the sessions are dedicated to one specific topic rather than you have one day with all the topics.
Right.
To give them the idea, hey, how do you apply this? And now they have already stepped onto the field of play and they faced something
Context.
So they're already invited to come back to the session with their own stories. Because I can tell my stories to them that are from League One, whatever it is,
Yeah.
but they're refereeing U10s yet.
Right.
Give me the U10 stories. Because then we will discuss something that is applicable to you 100% rather than 50%.
Right.
Because as we discussed with Mark, how do we start? I'm a very technical person. I'm a business analyst. I'm a data analyst.
Yeah.
I analyze what is written in the documents, what's in the figures, and how to apply that. That's what I teach my young referees. Know the law and apply it.
Yeah.
Here's how we apply this law. Here's how we apply that law. Like the first law we discuss is fouls and challenges. That's what happens all the time.
Right.
The second one is handball because nobody knows and it's constantly changing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So
Love
the
that.
two things in the first 2 weeks of the season.
I don't want to get too distracted, but I do the handball thing I've seen debated recently online, and like I think some of it,
my God.
like
Oh my
there is not a clear, and the rule varies slightly between leagues, doesn't it? Or I mean, one of the great things about European football or soccer, depending on how we want to call it, is for the most part FIFA is the governing body, and there's one rule book.
IFAB.
Oh,
IFAB.
I apologize.
Okay.
International. Okay.
Yes.
Educate me.
Yeah.
So IFAB is the governing body who issues the laws of the game. It consists of the 4 founding federations, which is England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland.
Okay.
So they are developing the laws of the game, and their technical leader right now is Pierluigi Collina. The famous Pierluigi Collina, one of the most, well, I think he's the best referee in the world so far.
Yeah.
Used to be. He is the leader of the law updates. He's the leader of the technical department there.
Okay.
Okay. Interesting.
Interesting.
But in spite of this being single source of truth, the handball has become a hot topic, and like this seems like it's a bit of a source of contention or disagreement, maybe.
That is one of the reasons Alberta Soccer is introducing the webinars for coaches.
For coach, yeah.
For coaches.
Yeah.
For coaches.
Yep.
Because Calgary Miners tried to do that in the last couple of seasons. They gave up inviting them. They just started recording kind of a podcast and putting it out on their website. Here are the law changes. Here how they work.
Right.
Still, I don't know why maybe coaches don't have time to watch that, don't want to know how to, or maybe they're trying to get advantage of that. We don't know because that's tactical as well. It could be tactical. As an instructor, I saw all this development, so I know the concepts. The concepts are pretty straightforward, and that's what one of the national instructors taught me how to teach it. Hey, what's fair? What's fair? If your arm is here and you're protecting your face and it hits it,
Yeah.
is
What was your
it fair
intention?
to protect yourself?
Yes.
Yes. So is it a handball offense?
No.
It's not an offense. It's a handball because the ball contacted the hand.
Right, but not.
It's not an offense.
See, I love. There's a similar thing in basketball, but I love that.
Yeah, the concept of advantage gained.
Correct. That's what there's contact. There's contact. No, I understand that. Oh, was there an advantage gained? Did the person exactly? And what's the outcome? I love that.
Kind
Yeah.
of. If I'm running at you with my hands outstretched and your ball hits me here, I'm creating a barrier.
Right.
Is it fair to you to break your attack with that hand out here?
No.
No. So now we have an offense.
Got you. Yeah. Seems simple, but then
I'm sure it is, although I'm sure there's 7 videos out there of examples that aren't simple.
for sure.
Of course.
And smart players will find ways to try to
Of course. Especially when they took the referee course.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
like to play
Or
those games.
coaches will use it as a strategy because they'll recognize the similarity
Yep.
between, and then they'll make an argument of why it's similar.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 things you said that were interesting when you were describing your program that I think are actually unique to how I've heard many other associations do their development. Like, so one, you bring these referees in after they've already had some on-field experience.
That part hit me.
that landed that. So I thought that was really interesting. So now you're taking them through this instruction once they've had some context and some real experience.
Right.
And then the second thing that really landed with me was you use their game experiences to tell the stories.
I wish to use it as much as possible.
Right.
Yeah, as much as you can.
For sure.
As much as they bring it to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, I thought that was so powerful because
Ditto.
I've had this experience, right, where like I'm sitting in a preseason training and I'm looking at a video of a rule of a game in Belarus, or a pro game, or or whatever the case may be, just because it was the video that was easily available.
Of course.
And like I understand, like it's it's hard to find the right examples and stuff like that, but it doesn't feel particularly relevant to officiating any sport at the U11 level.
Yeah, what does it look like at a U11 level?
It doesn't look remotely the same. So I thought that was really cool. Now, what do you think, if you were to toot your own horn a little bit, like what is your guys' secret sauce? Why do referees come out of your program with that? I mean, we've got a third-party objective person who's like, all I know is referees that come out of this program are better, or are more confident. I suppose Derek's words were more confident.
That's fair.
I think,
which can lead.
Yeah, like you get the repetition, but why do they come out more confident?
It's probably a question to Derek and others. But what we are trying to do is, again, they had some experience. They may have had a discussion with coaches or players or whoever it is. It affects, but they can't speak back. They don't know whom to speak with. Now all of a sudden in a free and a comfortable area with the peers and some guys who know a little bit more. And the guys and gals tell them, hey, here's what we are taught. What do you think? What are your experiences? And they can speak freely because they speak with other referees, with other first-year referees. As soon as first one speaks, the other one picks it up. Oh, I had a similar experience, but it's a little bit different. Oh, I had that experience. And they start chatting. And now we have their experience. And we address what is important to them. Yes, we can bring CPL video clips from Canada Soccer. Excellent clips, pre-selected, perfect. Once we get the U11 clip, thank you for CMSA, for Calgary Miners, because a lot of guys have now the cameras. And if CMSA have time, they cut the clips, give us the clips, we put them out for the youngsters, and they say, oh, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Instead of, oh, yeah, it was like,
the
most famous player of the world doing something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like you create a safe space, for them to, be vulnerable and show where, because sometimes as a ref, I know I'm going to say I'm afraid to look stupid.
Not as a ref, people.
That's fair.
It's human nature.
That's
Nobody wants to look stupid or look like they don't know.
Yeah.
And like you can't get real feedback if you can't have some level of vulnerability. So that was my takeaway. Like you've shortened the feedback loop by early in the season interjecting with like an early season clinic instead of waiting to like a mid-season point.
Yes.
And then you created a safe place where real feedback can be given, not hypothetical situations you're hoping they apply to their situations.
Based on their experiences, not like you said, we have the higher level clips, but yes.
That's why I always tell them, try to get into the class. Yes, online you at least listen to, but there's like a limited way to communicate online because I'm with the class. I'm focused on the class. Yes, we try to look into the questions online. I want them to be in the class because that's where they're a safe space to share their experiences. And when they sit together with the same level referees who just started, some of them are adults, some of them are younger, some of them are teenagers. It's like, just pick up and you're not judged. Oh, that was wrong. No, okay, let's discuss. Oh, I had that experience. Oh, that's how we work on that. Oh, that's cool. Now they start thinking rather than trying to sort it out on the field under the pressure.
That almost sounds like sports psychology 101. Like you create an environment where it's easy to visualize the experience, and now it's almost like an extra repetition.
Yeah, exactly. So we have 8 sessions throughout the season, at least 8.
Okay.
At least 8 in class, and we try to put 1 or 2 on field.
Very cool.
So it's not in the mid-season. It's like bang, 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 and then we start easing it up. And now we have once a month. But at the beginning, we have like literally
Every week.
1 week, second week, then 1 week break, another session, 2 weeks break, and then we ease it up.
Do people just sign up for it, or like do they get put like as soon as you sign up to be a referee in your first or second year, you get put right into this program? Like, how do people?
Well, again, I can't get the emails from the system, but as soon as CMSA, Calgary Miners, help me with that, I add them into the database and they start receiving the invitations.
Okay, so then they can choose.
That's the best I can do. Yeah. But again, remember, a lot of teenagers, they're still playing the high-level soccer or just soccer.
Right.
And they're committed to their practices. Sometimes they overlap and they can't come up, unfortunately.
Fair.
So I'm spreading out the word, and all those who think about their refereeing career now, they try to get in there. But it's totally fine not to start in the program right now, because especially if they play, it's never too late to turn back to refereeing. Right. As soon as they decide, like, hey, okay, I'm not going to become pro, I want to just play for fun, but I also want to referee and develop my career there, they're always welcome. It's never too late to turn back to refereeing.
That, I think, is an important point. It's never too late to... I think I need to return for a third time, Tamara. I returned as an adult. Is my story. And then I'm a very classic example of an official that used a life event in that I have a 3-year-old daughter now, so she was born in 2021. And that combined with COVID, it was just like really easy to be like, I'm just not going to take the call. But I love this concept of you can come back. A question I had as you were talking, like, you're a data analyst. You're a very logical guy. We've talked about the importance, like, of starting with the technical skills and things like that. What made you officiate? Because to me, this is not a logical decision, and you're a very logical guy in the sense of, like, there's other part-time things that would be certainly more lucrative or perhaps less stressful or whatever the case may be. So I'm curious. I'm making some assumptions there, but I'm curious what got you into...
It was super logical for me to start.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Because I was playing, obviously, the recreational soccer. I'm a goalkeeper. I see our guy in the center circle. So there is a corner kick. He's still in the center circle. There's, this mess in the penalty area, the ball bouncing there and back. So I lean forward, I grab the ball, I start falling down, I see a foot hitting my face, and then I hear a whistle for the goal. I'm like, wait a second. She's still in the middle. I ran up to him saying, hey, look, I'm bleeding. I obviously got hit. How do you call the goal here? Just turns around. So after the game, I come up to him like, I'm obviously mad, but I can do better than you. He looks at me like, here's the phone of our signer, call him.
Stop.
I'm like, I'll do better than you. I called him, the guy gave me the book. That's how I started.
I freaking love that, out of spite. Almost.
I was so mad, and I said, I'll do better than you. So.
I can relate to that so hard.
Tamara led the league in University of Canada West in technical fouls. So,
yeah. So I was a very spicy player, and like to the ref, so I get it, and like that's the approach I take when I ref. I want to be the ref that I felt like I wanted to have when I was playing. Sorry, so I get that. I can be better than that. I love that.
But are you always?
Hell no. It's a little harder. It's a little harder than I thought.
Yep.
As always, but that's what
Yes. The first book I received, I started reading it, and I'm like, oh, that's how it's...
Right?
Oh.
Like, if we would have known... Like, I recommend every player do a reffing course, because if you would have known what... Yes, you know the rule, but do you understand it, like, how they're calling it? Man, I would have changed my game.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, I want to hear some stories here of, like, so you... I love that. And actually, I think we should take a second to talk about bad officiating, because it does happen. But
happens, of course.
Before we get to that, you have this moment where you're like, that was awful. I can do better than you. I'm mad. I just got kicked in the face. I'm bleeding. So you sign up almost out of spite in this emotional moment. Tell me about the first moment you got. Like, you read in the rule book, but did you have an on-field moment where you're like, it turns out this was a lot harder than I was anticipating? Or were you able to, or did that moment happen as you were learning the rule book?
It's pretty much every time. You have to be alert for every single game because something unusual can happen, and you need to know that.
Yeah.
You need to be aware of that.
Yeah.
Well, obviously the U10 games were easier because I started refereeing in a different country. That was a wild country for refereeing. My parents were so frightened, so scared for me that I started refereeing.
Like for your safety?
Yes. They said, "Why are you doing that? That's dangerous. Don't do that." But here it's way easier. But again, I have to remember pretty much in every game, especially the higher level. The tricks could be so much more interesting, and I have to. And then that's where the logic comes into. So hard times. Obviously the first games were super hard. I was like, oh my god, what I'm doing? Why I'm doing that? I loved finding the situations when I was like, I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. And then it started building my confidence. Now I'm teaching others how to get that because that builds the confidence.
Yeah.
Then you start loving it.
Yeah. Right?
Then you start loving it.
Yeah.
Now, so I think validation is an interesting concept because I think that's something that's challenging about officiating is especially early, there cannot be a lot of validation. Like you can...
You're not good.
You're not good. You walk off feeling like you just did a bad job sometimes or at the very least, everybody's unhappy with you. And if you don't have... say a third-party evaluator or a mentor there to kind of give you that positive feedback, you can legitimately walk away being like, without any kind of positive feedback or validation. Seems like you were able to kind of generate that for yourself a little bit. Was that, or perhaps you weren't, I'm not sure, I'm making an assumption there, but do you think that validation was a byproduct of, like, you were very focused on being good and you wanted to get it right, and so you sounded like you had things you were focused on, and then when you got those things right, it felt good, and you were almost able to self-validate. Or I'd kind of be curious how that process worked. Yeah.
I think, well, first of all, 100% yes, we try to have that validation. We are human beings. That's ingrained in our brain. That's what we're trying to do. I would say I was able to separate the validation by the coaches and the parents from validation by peers. Because right now we have multiple chats on our phones with different groups of referees, and it's constantly, here, look at this clip, what do you think? Here, look at that clip, what do you think?
Yeah.
And then we discuss, and then some referee goes, oh, okay, maybe I got this wrong. They don't feel bad. They use it as a learning experience now. That's the biggest shift in our minds. Because we go to validate between ourselves, and if the decision is, well, probably not, it's like, okay, now I know why. I'll learn from it. It doesn't drag me down. That's probably one of the important things I would say to the new referees.
Peer group.
Speak through what's going on in your mind, but speak it with referees.
Right, in peer groups.
In peer groups, speak it with other referees. If you have, for example, if you feel you had a bad day or whatever it is, the bad feeling, and something is bothering you in your refereeing, find someone who is more experienced and talk through them. Talk your question through with them. The worst case scenario, they will say, "Sorry, I'm busy," but I know that an excellent person who you can speak about that.
Right, like passing on. Can I say, like, that's exactly what Jake was talking about, how at least in the basketball community here in like Alberta, Calgary, what has gone by the wayside is after every game there used to be like they'd go out to the pub and they would do these informal peer group sessions. Now obviously we have chat and all that stuff, but that's Same.
I was having the exact same thought. That, like, but, yeah, we've had two very excellent experienced referees talk about, especially in the early stages, the importance of peer feedback and peer, like you got validation from peers, which allowed you to separate the feedback you're getting from
Parents.
coaches and players, and perhaps even your own criticism in the moment.
Right.
I have an amazing story from Dave Gunter, another FIFA referee from Edmonton.
Please.
He said, you can have an excellent game from the technical perspective. All the decisions are correct. Everyone will hate you. And then you come into the game, you kind of slipped here, slipped there. Everyone loves you.
You said, what is it? It's never about being right. No, because no one cares really. What's your saying?
You know, I use a baseball analogy, but I'm like, it's rarely about balls and strikes in terms of the public opinion, anyways.
Yeah.
Like in terms of how the players and coaches feel about the game.
Yeah.
It's rare. Like the most well-liked officials are rarely the most accurate. Like overarching statement, you know what I mean? There's exceptions, like, and you know what I mean? Like you have to be there has to be a reasonable competence level, but, and this is, for the record, anyone listening, if you're listening to the whole thing, like this is not me saying referees should be lazy and not be trying to be technically excellent. And this is also not me saying I think any referee should be trying to cater to the public opinion, because that is not the right thing. But I think the point being, you do need to get very good at separating the feedback from coaches and players from the feedback of your peers and yourself ultimately, because if you don't, you're going down this.
You get confused.
You're going down this popularity contest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's also an element of, I think we are trying to provide excellent experiences for, especially when you talk about youth sports, for young athletes. And I think that does bring an interesting component of your presence and how you show up, and even things like smiling can make a massive impact. And what I mean, I'm not saying everyone should smile. That's not what I'm suggesting. But what I'm suggesting is there are ways to affect performance beyond just
The right decision.
accuracy. Call it accuracy.
Yes, that's for sure. But interestingly, I'm thinking back to my first youth sport game, and it felt way so much easier for me than tier 3, whatever it is, whatever age it is. It felt so much easier because they are already so much technically developed. They know the laws in majority, and they listen. Because now they play tactics and strategies.
Yeah.
And I was amazed that I'm coming to a player saying, hey, I don't want to see it anymore. He's like, oh, okay. I'm like, what? You're listening to me? The case was the ball went out for the throw-in and he tried to kick the ball away. I'm like, I don't want to see it anymore. I'm like, okay. And he never did it in the rest of the game. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You're listening to me?
Yeah.
Because you go tier 3, tier 5, they'll keep kicking it out.
Because they have no idea. Like, yeah.
Because the coach told them. Here they start understanding. Hey, if you kick it one more time, I have to go with the later start of play. They're like, yeah, I know.
Right.
And they listen. So from that perspective, it was so much easier.
Right.
Yes, they play harder. They play technically more advanced. In that game, I had 2 goals disallowed for offside. My assistant referee was amazing. The bench was like, no, he's not right. And I'm like, and then I hear in the radio from the 4th official, they just came to me saying, assistant referee, you are amazing. Yeah. You disallowed our goals, but that was correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's your sport. They know this. They know what they are doing. Yes, they play tricks. They will play more complicated tricks, but they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
In a good sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes in a bad sense, but in a good sense as well.
Yeah. It's easier to call the quote unquote balls and strikes, and you just have to manage players.
Yeah.
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 I remember that from my first year. Like you start off and you do a ton of time doing just really low level basketball, and I remember feeling like this is
what don't I call?
What am I? Yeah, like, and then you get your first assignment that's like a reasonably decent junior high or something, like a grade 9 game, and you're just like, this is so much easier. Why do it's actually a thought I've had, like sometimes, why do we start so many young officials exclusively on these really low level games.
They're kind of hard.
Yeah, they can be kind of hard. Like but we'll get some assigners on here, T, and we'll dive into the logic of assigning and things like that.
So 10, 11, and 12s are probably the hardest games to manage.
And you have how many officials generally for those games?
Used to be one.
Exactly. Versus U Sport, you have
at least 4.
Yeah.
CMSA actually, Calgary Miners made a smart thing. They now assign 2 referees, at least for indoors.
Nice.
2. So the second official is a little bit weird position because they combine the assistant referee, the 4th official for the keys, and those concepts are pretty hard for them. And then we try to make them run kind of in a futsal. So from the technical perspective, it's kind of a weird position.
Right.
From the management, it
helps.
It was really smart decision.
Right.
It was a really smart decision by CMSA.
Interesting.
Because now we have 2 referees, and at least if one gets some issues, he or she has someone to talk to.
Another opinion.
Yeah.
There's just this second person so that you're not alone.
Yeah.
Out there.
Yeah.
Loneliness as a referee is I think that's actually an interesting topic because I was thinking about this yesterday about how lonely officiating can feel sometimes. Like it can feel like you're driving to an assignment where you don't know a soul.
Yep.
And you're so used to sports being familiar and you having teammates, and like even though you get that you're not playing, the context is weird. You walk in, nobody wants to talk to you. Sometimes even your partner doesn't want to talk to you. You probably are introducing yourself, whatever, like before the game, and having the awkward small talk.
Yep.
And maybe you blow a call or they blow a call and you don't want to talk about that. Yep. But just there's this
dynamic.
There's an awkwardness to it, and it can feel very lonely. And if you're, say, doing a whole day of games, you have this whole day where, in spite of being surrounded by dozens and hundreds of people, you felt just incredibly lonely. Have you ever felt that? Or I've felt that.
No, I get it. I think more in it. I don't think I would have explained it as loneliness. I would explain it kind of like, oh God, like just sitting and stewing. I think it is loneliness, like what you're telling me. Yeah. But like for sure, like not like feeling awkward of like, how do I discuss something awkwardly with someone I don't know? Like it's that whole, how do I build quick rapport with someone I've never met before? And then as a ref, it's important to discuss and like try to get on the same page. But like, if I don't know you, how do we do that? So yeah, I would never have said loneliness, but that's what it was. I don't know.
When I play, I have at least 10 people behind my back, just in case something happens. When I referee, I have at least 22 against me.
Yes. Yes.
If something happens.
Yes.
At least 22.
Yes.
Yeah, to me, it's an interesting juxtaposition of you go to this activity that you just inherently associate with community and with teammates and these things. And all of a sudden you're like, I feel very isolated. Unsafe maybe isn't the right word. Like that's a strong word, but you don't feel comfortable. Yeah, I suppose.
Maybe that's why a lot of goalkeepers become good referees.
I wanted to call out the quirkiness of being a goalkeeper. Actually,
so maybe speak on that.
I see a trend that a lot of quite a number of good referees, they used to play goalkeepers. It's a different mindset. You're pretty much lonely on the field. You do the different role.
Interesting.
You have the whole field vision. You see all those patterns. At least for me.
Yeah.
And I saw quite some goalkeepers becoming good referees, or at least trying to.
Interesting.
I mean, goalies in all sports have a reputation of being kind of quirky and a little march to a drummer of their own beat. Maybe
I would love to get some hockey people, because I've heard some feedback on hockey goalies.
Yeah.
So I'd love to get some feedback on that.
It's also interesting you spent your whole career mostly watching. So you would have a different lens of you spent a lot of time watching from a distance.
Interesting.
So I could
that's
what I thought. Yeah.
You just okay.
I don't want to pivot this is an interesting conversation, but there's one thing you said that I want to make sure we get to. When we were chatting before we started the podcast, you talked about this interesting power dynamic where like we teach kids as they grow up for the most part that the secret to success is listening to adults, or you know what I mean? Like you learn, you send them to school and you're like, hey, listen to your teacher. Parents, for the most part, the dynamic is authority figures. And then we have this interesting dynamic with, I don't want to over explain it. You kind of explain it, how you see it.
Yeah. So we are polite people. We teach our kids being polite. So what does it mean? They listen to us. They listen to our relatives. They listen to teachers. They usually listen to their friends' parents. So they listen to adults.
Right.
We teach them that adults are mostly right, mostly correct. Now we get into the field. Oopsies. Some people will take advantage. How do we determine that? First of all, and second, how we dodge that. I wouldn't say we need to punish them every single time, but we can play tricks. We can be jerks ourselves a little bit, in some sense, right? Because when I see someone's trying to play tricks on me, I'll warn them. But if they keep doing, okay, I know the laws.
Yeah.
I know the laws. Don't teach me the laws. I know.
Right.
So here how that applies to you. Bang, 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 if necessary, of course.
Right.
Of course.
I just thought that was so interesting. Like you think of a lot of people start officiating when they're as young as 12, 13, but 14, 15, 16-year-old is not common. Not uncommon, I should say.
Correct.
And it's like you've been taught your whole life. Like you have this in the back of your mind, the adults are right. And
not even conscious. It's because it's been taught. So even that you just said that, I don't think if I even talked to a new referee, they would even articulate that. But exactly what you said. But we know that's a pattern that we teach. So
yeah, and then you get into a situation where you're at a game, and now you have two adults telling you. Sometimes they very politely. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's assume these are polite. But you have multiple adults. Explaining to you situations where they think you're wrong. Mm-hmm. And it's hard not to assume they're right. And maybe they are right even. I don't know. Like, you're a young referee, there's a good chance you're making a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
But that's just negative validation. That's an interesting psychology that I think a lot of probably referees, and I wonder if even associations are thinking about. Like, how do we help a young referee overcome that and realize you need to get validation from your peers. You need to get validation from, like, in this situation, because adults are their parents. Yeah. And parents are in this situation. And Tamara and I were talking about this the other day of, like, why do parents have these irrational emotional reactions to what happens in a sporting event with their kids? Like, why do they overreact so consistently? Like the reactions are not proportionate to what the inputs suggest.
Yeah.
The outputs should be. Yeah. And I mean, it gets kind of, I don't know, we were kind of talking about, well, it kind of becomes this subconscious reflection on your parenting. Yeah. On, like, if you're,
if your kid's not good, does that make me look bad? Like,
does that make, yeah. And it's not, it doesn't.
No, but
or there's this element of, like, well, if they failed, did I not get them in the right camp, or did I not get them in the right program, or did I not make enough money so they could play club, or did I not spend enough time with them when I was a kid, or so and so, or was I, we perceive the judgment of others and we react. And I don't think it's a conscious, like, those are not the thoughts that are going through somebody's mind when they're yelling or when they're upset about a situation, but there are these underlying, like, emotions, and they are reacting aggressively to the situation because they're like, well, if we lose, somehow I've failed. Or potentially, this is our hypothesis. Right. And helping a referee to be emotionally prepared and have the emotional intelligence to be prepared for the social dynamic of a sporting event.
And to recognize it's potentially not about them. Like, whatever that anger is getting thrown at them is potentially not, like...
It's unequivocally not about them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair.
They may have made a bad call.
Yes.
Like they may have been the trigger for this explosion.
Yeah.
But there is like, they are not the cause of the explosion.
Sure.
It's always about something else. Like,
Yeah.
and it's really difficult to teach the emotional intelligence to a referee that like
Still developing.
that's still developing themselves.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. So far, I think it comes from the technical knowledge first, because if I know that I made the right call, I start blocking that out of my mind. But I'm not a teenager anymore, so
Right.
I can do it in my mind. How do I help them though? That's my biggest question: how to teach that.
But I think so. Now, you just piggyback off of our last conversation with Jake. Said the exact same thing. Like, new referees just get technically right. Like, understand the laws, understand the rules, because then it's like, yeah, you might, and obviously there's more developing. You have to still help them block out more of the noise. But if you know what the rule is, you at least have some grounding in that.
So another very good thing that Calgary Miners did, they put the first year jersey on the referees. So
Okay.
when the referee is in the field, you can see if he or she is first year. It's written down in bold on their back. So when we as mentors come out of the games and we hear the coaches start bowling, we're like, okay, coach, see, he or she is a first year referee. Remember your players in the first year. Could they do a pass? Could they shoot on goal? They're learning like your kids. Helps a lot. So I praise Calgary Miner for that. Although at the first, the referees were like, we are not putting that on our kids. So this is like they'll be targeted for that. No, actually, we were able to turn it over.
Interesting.
And now the Utahns like, they're learning. Yeah, okay. Oh, the player's down. Maybe please stop just to take care of the player. They learn themselves. The coaches learn themselves to calm down, and that teal jersey campaign was introduced at the same time with I think it's Sports Canada, when we moved the results out of the competitions until U13.
Okay.
So every game in U10, U11, U12, the official result is 0-0.
Oh.
The table says everyone played 10 games, everyone got 10 points. That's it. To remove the pressure from coaches to deliver result, to remove the pressure from players to deliver result for the coaches so that they can boast their result.
Right.
Now when I see coaches that start doing like, okay, folks, I understand, let me teach them, but remember, the result of this game is 0-0.
Right. It's development. It's all about development.
It's developmental. It releases the pressure from them and then releases the pressure from the referees. But we have tournaments.
And those, yeah, okay.
And that's where the pressure builds up. Luckily, we have the tournaments towards the end of the season, so at least they have some kind of experience to get there.
Right. There's something that you said in which we had a basketball referee tell me about this. So, like, how long would you say, or what was the process from that switch of ref saying, I don't want to bring attention to myself with the jersey, and then all of a sudden it flipping and being like, oh, actually this is good, this is helpful, I'm not bringing attention, like this is actually a positive thing, because I had a young referee reach out to us about being mic'd up. And she actually was nervous about wearing the mic'd up armband because she didn't want to bring attention to herself as a new referee, even though it's about her development. So I'm like, and I think that's a very interesting point that obviously we're trying to get referees help them develop, but there's a branded thing that lets people know. And like, they're like, oh, I don't want people to. So how would you say, how long did it take, or like, what was that switch?
To be honest, I don't know, because I think the first year was like boiling inside our community.
Okay.
We were just boiling because, again, we have that many people. Some of them think it's good, some think it's bad,
Okay.
but we have no experience. So then we started having a season, then we had another season, and CMSA was good because they were firm on that. Yes, we think this is a good thing.
Yeah.
We want to keep it. let's see how it works before scrapping it out. So that was another good thing. And all of a sudden we start seeing those, because a lot of us are mentors as well. So we go out to the games and watch what's going on there. And we started noticing that. And that's probably how it started.
So just
to
time.
fuse.
Just time, essentially. And interesting.
Is when you introduce something, you'll have half people saying, yeah, it's a good thing. The other half will say, no, never.
People like status quo.
There was a time people were furious about seatbelts being legislated into vehicles. And like,
Exactly.
to me, that couldn't be more obvious that if you're in a car accident, you do not want to be thrown from the vehicle.
Yeah.
Right.
And yet,
People didn't want
half
to.
the people were annoyed by it,
So that was pretty much like a student driver sign.
Yeah.
You drive by, you see, you try to be a little bit more accurate around, not to give them hard time by hard moves around them, and still make a little bit of a distance just in case.
Right.
So I think that worked the same way.
Well, it seems like the underlying principle is almost this, like when you're trying to teach a referee to make good decisions, you teach them the rule book. There's a snowblower going crazy outside right now. It's mildly distracting, but so you've got, you try to teach them the rule book so they know the rule, but the skill that you're trying to teach is to separate. There's a trigger, there's an event on the field, and now you need to help them learn to create space so that they can make a judgment on what happened based on the rule book. It seems like we're trying to do the same thing with parents and coaches almost in this instance of like parents and coaches are going to have these emotional reactions. And I think sometimes we try to beat that out of them. And I think I've had that approach of like, if we could just convince parents and coaches that they're awful people for being mad in these moments, that perhaps, they will stop and shame them into, and perhaps, it's more nuanced than that. There's an acceptance that these moments are going to happen because it's an emotional experience out there on the field. And what we really need is for you to be able to think before you speak. And so then this visual reminder, like in this instance, a teal jersey, maybe it's a mic'd up armband, but whatever it is, this visual reminder of like, I should think before they're, in this instance, the reminder is, they're new. Maybe I'll temper my anger, or whatever the case may be in that moment. But that gap is where the value is how do we create space to help people think? Because most of us, if we think about it even for a second, most of the time we'll have more reasonable responses.
Yeah. Looks like the steel jersey helped that.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm standing between the benches, so I hear the coaches. Yeah. I've seen that. I don't want to be in with parents because that can go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's a different thing.
Well, even when I wear my Alberta Soccer uniform, can go anywhere actually.
Right.
Well, they see the logo sometimes. Well, we actually had a very funny interaction when one of the persons we have two mentors at the game, and we're just sitting at the side. One of us I was wearing my CDSRA uniform. He was wearing his Alberta Soccer. So there is one person coming up and babbling about, you have to teach your referees. My friend just does this, like, okay, I hear you, enough. The guy goes mad. He's like, why are you stopping me? Like, whom are you with? And my friend, not without even looking at him, like, look at me. The guy turns around, Alberta Soccer, runs away. I don't want to mess here. Interestingly enough, Alberta Soccer started posting publicly the decisions on the offenses against the referees. So we have a long list at the Alberta Soccer website called Disciplinary, and we see who is doing what. Is it a deterrent? I hope so. But what upsets me is how many pages we have there.
Right. You would like to not have multiple pages of...
Yes. We have multiple pages there.
Yeah. How do we prevent, not react?
Right.
It's an emotional sport, but again, emotions should have a limit.
Agreed.
I know everyone likes to support their club, and then if they are losing, then that's an emotional damage they receive. But there's actually a very good blog post by one of our referees about him being an Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
how it gives him those emotional swings up and down because it's Arsenal.
Yeah.
It's hard not to.
Yep. So he has an excellent blog post. I'll share it with
Yeah,
you.
please share it. We'll link it into the notes.
Yeah, we'll do a thing. It'll be in the show notes.
Because it feels like the best way to observe those big games is with the lens of the referee. Because you don't get the swings, but you enjoy the game. You enjoy the decisions, you enjoy the tactics, and you're not drawn into those emotions.
I've become pretty good about separating emotion from sport for the most part. I generally won't watch a Gonzaga basketball game with anybody. I'd prefer to watch them alone. So I think we've all, we all have that one situation. You were reminding me, just kind of this whole conversation, we typically do a section called In the News.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a story that came out in the Providence Journal recently, the title being, Sports Referees Say They're Scared, They Want More Legal Protection. And there was an interesting story to start this article, and it's just a few sentences, so I'll read it because I think it brings up an interesting point. So, sports referee Tara Pinsky remembers a fan yelling, "You suck" at her after she made a call he didn't like. As it turns out, the fan was a surgeon, and Pinsky often finds herself thinking, can you imagine me yelling at that during surgery, that he sucks? Pinsky and other referees say they're experiencing more abusive and unruly behavior at games, and it scares them. I'm always concerned about my safety. It's such an interesting... and I think that's the perfect analogy of, yes, sports are emotional. So is surgery. It's not a apples to apples comparison, but I think your point being we do need to learn to create space between our thoughts and emotions and our actions. I think it totally happened. There was another story that came out recently that I wanted to chat about. So there's a coach, NCAA Division I men's basketball coach named Doug Gottlieb. He recently got suspended for a game for his comments on the officiating after a game, and he was upset because there was a technical foul called, if I recall the events correctly, late in the game that he feels like cost them the game. And now I will say, as I've read a few stories, there's perhaps some evidence suggesting he may have had a point, that there may have been an unfair application of the rules. I haven't really looked, to be honest, I haven't watched the tape and I haven't dove into it. What fascinated me about this event, I remember Doug Gottlieb as a young guard at Oklahoma State, if I remember correctly, playing for the famous Eddie Sutton. Talented guard. He went on to become an ESPN personality and then decided he was going to try his hand at coaching. Has not had very much success. Has been quite poor for several years coaching. And I was watching this grown man literally throw a tantrum and pound a table as he was talking about this one single call. And I get this impacts his career, this impacts his livelihood, this impacts his ability to provide for his family. Yeah. Wins and losses matter a lot at this level. So I don't want to I get why he has the strong emotions. And yet there's also this element of this one call didn't make you, I don't know what their record is, but I think they have 4 or 5. I don't the record's not good. And it's such an interesting reaction. Two things can be true at once. And we're always looking for somebody else to blame. A scapegoat. We're always looking for somebody else to blame, and the referee tends to be the low-hanging fruit. It's the easy fruit because they don't have 11 players behind them at all times. It's a consensus. There's 22 against them. So anyways, I know you had some thoughts on it, the two things.
Yeah, so I'd love to get your perspective, Alex, on this, because one of my mentors and a senior official gave me really good feedback, because I think it was a college game, ACAC, and it ended up not being a close game. It ended up being like a 10, 15 point game, but in the beginning it was close. And what they said from a perspective of how we were calling the game, seemingly we were calling ticky-tack on one side and not necessarily the equal type of ticky-tack on the other side. So the coach, just even though it wasn't a close game, it wouldn't have mattered, but like the perspective of like, what does the feeling of, I can't remember the term, and now I'm going to script what the term was, but there's this perspective of like, there's a reason why sometimes coaches, yes, a lot of times they're emotional, but like there's there's bias, there's like, there is some level of, okay, like, let's hear, like one coach is really, really upset. Like, what are we doing? Like, are we evaluating the same things on both sides? Like, it just had me thinking. And that's kind of what I was saying about like, okay, yes, that one technical foul that cost him the game. But what was the whole game like? Like you said, you haven't watched it. Like, were there a lot of potentially ticky-tacky, non-consequential, marginal stuff being called versus not? Like, so I don't know at what level do you teach that to your referees? Or, I don't know, what are your thoughts on that? Because that makes me think when I'm reffing. Like, oh, yeah.
So from my perspective, that's a concept of perceived unfairness.
Yes.
Perceived unfairness.
Yes.
From one side or the other. The only thing to battle it, and that's another reason why we have the program. We show the thing and we say, hey, Canada Soccer told us this is this. Now, this is a different thing. Why? Because we want consistency.
Yeah.
Once the folks have this video and they see what happened and how it was judged and what we are told to judge, there is a good chance when they see the same thing, they will call it the same way.
Yeah.
And when it happens on the other side of the thing, they will call it the same way. Yeah. But consistency matters.
Yeah.
Consistency matters a lot. My easiest example I really loved. So again, going back to the handball concepts. If the player goes for the sliding tackle and their arm is supporting their body when going down, if the ball hits it, is it fair or not?
They're trying to support themselves. They're trying to save themselves.
They're trying to support themselves. It's natural. That's why if the ball hits it here, it's not an offense. So I had a kid in the penalty area who fell down on his two arms, and the ball is literally like in between. Guess what the other coach does?
Handball.
Oh, yeah, it's a penalty. I'm like, no, it's not an offense. It's the ball bouncing because he went down.
Right.
He was like disbalanced. I was so lucky because 5 minutes later, exact same thing happened on the other side. I was like, blah, 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 blah. Nope, play on. And here, coach, oh, that's consistent. And I'm like, thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
gods. Thank you, referee gods.
The soccer gods.
Yeah.
The rest of the game, he was player do this, player do this, player do this, player do this, player do that, like subs, nothing.
Okay.
Silence.
So that's actually fascinating too, because, and maybe speak to this, where as a referee, even if you're at the college level when you have a 4 ref system, in theory, there's only one ref actually making those calls. Am I wrong like that? Like in terms of...
It's a teamwork.
It's teamwork. Okay. Because I'm thinking from a basketball perspective, like, this is not necessarily good. I was talking to another young referee where, like, refs are calling into their primary when that they made a decision to not make the call, but then someone else reached out of their primary to make the call, but they were actually consequentially it was marginal to them, but someone else came in. So I don't know if that same kind of concept happens in soccer, but
So what do we have? We have the referee and assistants.
Yep.
So it is super important to have this pre-game discussion.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Who is in the middle is the boss in this game, no matter what. And they tell assistants what they expect of them and how do they want to communicate. Well, now we have the comms, in most cases, on the top level games, so it's relatively easy. If we don't have the comms, we have to have this discussion about how do we communicate. And if you look at, especially at the 4th, you will see him doing a lot of...
He's communicating.
a lot of small, subtle signals.
Yeah.
because that's what they discussed.
Yeah.
Looking like a baseball bat catcher.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of. So we have all these signals discussed before the game to understand each other. And then it usually goes, tweet.
Got you.
Because we discuss how we communicate.
It goes back to communication. I think it goes back to my example of walking into the gym and feeling lonely.
That's what I was trying to get at.
You know,
yeah.
of like referees will have better experiences if they get better and clearer with their communication, with their partners, with everybody really.
Yeah.
So everybody.
Yeah.
So going to the communication. Now in CMSA we have a two-man system. One is the referee with a whistle. The second one is fourth assistant without a whistle. So technically they are not even supposed to call fouls, but they are supposed to advise. So again, we have a discussion. Hey, you're in the middle. Sometimes your view is blocked. This is my signal for you that I see something, and you go with that. And you tell me if you want to call it, or you play advantage, or you see it's not a foul. Because if I go here, everyone will see it, and everyone will lose it.
Wow, why are you not making a call? Yeah. Totally.
But if you don't discuss it beforehand, nobody knows.
You have to have the system down. That's really nice actually to have somebody you can trust who's on your team giving you a second lens.
That is the communication of the team. I see a lot of kids come up like really close to the kickoff. They don't have time for that. And then they have the problem because the parents are like, hey, did you see that? Yes, I told him.
But he didn't know. Yeah, or
know
they didn't know.
We should wrap up because we're definitely at time. But I wanna go back to this concept of perceived bias, because I don't think this is just an issue with refereeing. I think this is a challenge in sport. I think it's a challenge in society. I think it's a big concept. And you think like the coach in this instance has a perceived bias, whether it's on the ticky-tack calls, whether it's in this instance of a technical foul at the end of the game costing somebody a game, whether it's whatever, like this concept of perceived bias. It's funny, players also have perceived bias towards their coach. Hey, I didn't get the minutes because they like this player better, or because and they make the argument in their mind of like, hey, I'm outworking so and so in practice, or I'm better at this. Why am I not getting my opportunity? Or there's perceived bias, and it's funny, that's one of the major battles coaches fight within their own team, and it's such a triggering event. And I think even just in life, we all have perceived bias of like, hey, I didn't get this opportunity because of X, Y, Z, and bias exists. So I don't want to suggest. Sometimes you perceive correctly, like it's not. But it is also a crutch. Like two things can be true at once. It can be real, and it can be an excuse. And I think one of the powerful messages that we can teach an athlete is, real or perceived, the best way to deal with bias is to focus on executing the next play. And I think that's one of the best things we can teach. You talked about referee being a way to teach life skills. Teaching the referee like real or perceived anything, the best way to gain confidence and to be a good referee is to focus on the technical execution of the next play. And to me, that's the lesson of sport, of life, is that like there's going to be adversity, sometimes fair, sometimes not fair. And if your goal is to win, which we all say it is in sport, that's why we're there, because we're trying to do everything we can control to affect the outcome. You have to learn to deal with this bias. And the best way to do it is to focus on the technical, to communicate with your team, and then to go out and execute to the best of your ability. So that was, I don't know, that was, to me, that was the full circle moment, like that perceived bias. I was like, the irony of it. So I don't know if anyone has any follow-up thoughts, but
No,
that they
I'd love
want
to hear, Alex, if you have any thoughts on it.
Well, I would say that most people come with a perceived bias by default, But the good thing is if you deliver consistently, if the referee delivers consistently, they start being recognized. The next game, they come into the game with the same coaches, especially in the adults. We start hearing, hey, don't mess up with him or her because they know their stuff.
Yeah.
Just don't mess with them.
You got credits in the bank.
Yes. What also helps, at least me, in the games, I'm always so super talkative. I lose my voice after the game, but simply because I shout out my decisions.
Yeah.
Yes, they will still disagree with them, but at least they know.
Right.
I made my decision rather than I like running with my poker face and they're like, did you see it? Did you not? Did you make the decision? Did you not? Now I'm going, no. Everyone knows I made a decision. They don't agree with that.
Right.
They know I made it, and everyone's going on, and they need to run back rather than argue with me because the attack is going that way now. That helps me a lot. That's what I recommend the young referees.
That's huge.
Talk yourself out and communicate. Now I train my voice to be loud.
From the diaphragm. Yeah.
So I come to kids saying, hey, who likes to yell? Just for fun. Who likes to sing? Just go for it. Because at home, maybe your parents will say, like, you know what? Here is your place.
I love it.
Have fun with that.
I love that. That's a great message.
I think it's a great
The
message.
key thing is to have fun, have fun, have fun. Once you're smiling, you'll come back.
Yes.
You'll love it.
Yeah.
No matter what.
I have nothing to add. I think
No,
that's a
that
great
was
message. Yeah.
beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much for your time. This conversation is amazing.
It was awesome. And honestly, I learned what you're doing to develop referees. Like, first of all, thank you, because that's
Yes.
important. Like, there are referees that are having better experiences for it. There are young athletes who you don't even realize are having better experiences because of officials are having more confidence and more passion. So the trickle down effect is there is a CEO right now in CMSA who one day will look back at their experience as a soccer player, as a foundational experience, and why they solved problem X, Y, Z. And I think we can't underestimate the trickle down effect of the positive impacts we're making in sport, and that's especially thankful to people who are doing the thankless jobs like you. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Awesome.
having me. Thank you for having me, Mark.